Hi there, good day. Welcome to another episode on question, answers, and why, particularly on the subject of animal science. So let's start off with question number one. What is the average temperature of goat? So is it 37.6 degrees Celsius? Is it 39.1 degrees Celsius? Is it 38.3 degrees Celsius or 40.1 degrees Celsius? Now, in order to answer this question, kailangan alam natin yung basic facts about yung average temperature ng goat, which is, typically, it is at the range of 38.5. So, typically, ang average na temperature ng goat is at 38.5 to 39.7 degrees Celsius. So, given na ito yung range niya, tama lang na ang sagot is letter B at 39.1 degrees Celsius. 37.6 degrees Celsius is low sa goat. 38.3, nandun na sana, medyo malapit-lapit na. Pero again, ang ating rule of thumb na temperature is starts at 38.5 degrees Celsius. Whereas 40.1 naman ay is masyado naman ng mataas. 40.1 degrees Celsius would indicate that your goat is having a fever. Okay? So, second question. What do you call the development of chicks from unfertilized egg? Or the development of chicks from unfertilized egg is termed as letter A, fecundity, letter B, hatchability, letter C, oogenesis, or letter D, parthenogenesis. Okay, parthenogenesis. Now, in order for us, again, to answer this question, isa-isahin natin yung mga terms na nasa choices, which are at some point related naman to each other. Simulan natin sa konsepto ng fecundity. What does fecundity means? Fecundity ay isang term that refers to the ability of an animal to produce an offspring. So basically, fecundity is just yung potential ng hayop para mag-reproduce ng kanyang lahi. So ibig sabihin yan, if your animal has a high fecundity, it means that that animal can produce more offspring as compared to an animal with low fecundity. So kapag yung reproductive capacity ng hayop mo is mabilis and kung yung organism mo, say, is maraming mag-produce and mabilis mag-produce, high ang kanyang fecundity. Whereas kapag naman yung organism mo is mababa lang yung napoproduce niyang offspring tapos matagal pa, low ang kanyang fecundity. So that's the concept of fecundity. It just pertains to the reproductive capacity of your organism, or in our case, of our chicken. So kapag ang say ang operation natin is nagpo-produce tayo ng chicks, in the case of chicken na binibenta natin sa mga different farms, probably to grow as layers or to grow it as broilers, gusto natin na yung hayop natin mataas ang fecundity. Ibig sabihin, mataas yung kanyang capacity to produce offspring na pwede nating ibenta. So that's the concept of fecundity. How about the concept of hatchability? Hatchability naman is a term only related to birds. Okay, kasi only related to birds and some animals, of course, animals na nag-ooviposit or naglalabas ng itlog. But hatchability is a term that refers to an ability of the egg to hatch successfully. So mostly kasi, yung mga itlog na yun, they are being oviposited. So nailalabas sila. But the question of hatchability is, do they hatch successfully? Kasi may mga itlog, hindi maayos yung pagkalimlim or hindi maayos yung incubation, hindi sila nag-hatch. Or probably there's some problem within the egg itself that causes the egg not to hatch. So for example, if you have if your animals laid say 100 eggs and out of that 100 eggs is 100 yung nag-hatch, 100% na ngayon yung kanyang hatchability. Ngayon, kapag out of that 180 lang yung nag-hatch, then 80% lang yung kanyang hatchability. Now, fecundity and hatchability is two terms that might be related if we are only pertaining to birds or to species that are laying eggs. Kasi ang fecundity, it is about yung potential niya to reproduce, okay? The potential reproductive capacity. Whereas ang hatchability, minimeasure yung success rate ng hatching ng fertilized eggs. So therefore, kapag mataas ang fecundity ng isang hayop or ng isang bird, in our case, more than likely it will follow that the hatchability will also be high. The next term is oogenesis. What is oogenesis? Now, oogenesis only pertains to the process of egg formation doon sa ovary ng hayop. In our case, sa ovary ng birds. So gusto ko lang maging malinaw dito ang pinag-uusapan lang natin is the process of egg formation or the yolk or the egg cell. So yung proseso ng pag-form ng egg, ng yolk, ang tawag doon, oogenesis. Hindi pa kasama dyan yung fertilization ng egg by the sperm. It only involves the development and maturation of yung tinatawag nating oocytes or egg cells. Pero hindi pa kasama dyan sa definition na yan, yung fertilization ng itlog na yan. So, that's oogenesis. Now again, oogenesis, let's balikan natin yung three terms na to based doon sa question. Ang tinatanong dito sa question is, ano daw yung tawag doon sa konsepto kung saan nade-develop yung egg kahit na unfertilized siya? So, balikan natin, fecundity. May nasabi ba ako about the fertilization of egg sa konsepto na to? Wala. Basically, ang sinabi ko lang, fecundity is a measure of reproductive capacity. How about hatchability? Meron bang konsepto doon ng development of unfertilized egg? Wala rin. Kasi hatchability is simply yung success rate ng hatching. Right? How about oogenesis? Have we talked about fertilization or the development of unfertilized egg? No. Right? Kasi oogenesis, we simply define it as the formation of egg cell. So comes now, the fourth term dun sa choices, which is yung tamang sagot, parthenogenesis. Now, parthenogenesis comes from the word partheno, meaning birth, meaning virgin, and genesis meaning birth or the formation of. So parthenogenesis basically means virgin birth. So bakit mayroon tayong parthenogenesis? Hindi ba na pagdating sa development of an organism, kailangan ng fertilized egg, ay kailangan ng sperm that would fertilize the egg? Well, not necessarily. Kaya nga may concept na parthenogenesis. What is parthenogenesis? Ito ay isang form of asexual. So walang meeting yung male and female reproductive organ, kasi nga asexual, so walang sex na nangyayari. It is a form of asexual reproduction kung saan yung itlog is developed into an individual or into an organism without being fertilized by the sperm. So the egg develops into an individual kahit na walang sperm na magpo-fertilize doon sa ating egg. Now, parthenogenesis is commonly occurring sa ating mga insects and some reptiles, but it also occurs in birds, including chickens. However, paminsan-minsan lang nangyayari itong case na ito. Although in chicken, it happens na sometimes, sometimes the egg can form into a new chicken even without the sperm fertilizing it. And ang tawag doon, parthenogenesis. And at some point, if parthenogenesis happens that way, kung saan yung egg ay naging chicken kahit na hindi na fertilize ng egg, kahit na hindi na fertilize ng sperm, mostly what happens is naglalabas pa rin tayo ng offspring na mostly male. Bakit kaya? So ang female bird ang kanyang sex chromosome is ZW. Whereas ang male bird, hindi WW. What I mean is ZZ. So, ang female bird, kapag nag-undergo siya ng parthenogenesis, which is, ibig sabihin nun, yung kanyang egg ay nag-develop to form another bird kahit na walang sperm na nag-fertilize nun, ang nare-replicate sa kanyang sex chromosome is the Z1. And when that duplicates, so ZZ, more than likely, male bird yung kanyang ipoproduce. So wala naman kasi tayong bird na ang sex is WW. So mali yung kanina, ito yung tamang explanation. Yung Z ang nagre-replicate, hindi yung W. So let's start with the next question. Question number 3. Ano daw yung tawag sa removal of a part of the comb of a day-old chick? Do we term that as clipping, dubbing, spaying, or debeaking? So let's start off with defining what clipping is. Clipping is a term that usually refers trimming ng feathers or wings. So hindi siya removal of a part of the comb, but rather it is a trimming of feathers and wings. Yan yung clipping. So makikita natin dyan sa picture, tinitrim yung wings ng ating chicken. Yung spaying, baka narinig nyo na yan, is a surgical procedure para ma-sterilize yung mga female animals natin. Mostly, ginagamit itong procedure na to or nai-implement itong procedure na to sa mga dogs. And ang purpose is to remove yung ovaries and sometimes the uterus as well. Para hindi na manganak yung ating hayop. Lalo na kapag masyado siyang maraming mag-reproduce and hindi natin maalagaan yung kanyang offspring, pinapa-spay natin yung ating animal. The third concept is debeaking. So ano naman ang debeaking? With the word itself, beak. So debeak means you trim the beak. So this involves removing yung part of the beak na matalas para maiwasan yung pecking behavior among birds or among chickens. Kasi ang mga chickens, nagkakaroon sila ng harmful pecking behavior wherein they peck each other. And kapag matulis yung kanilang beak, masasaktan talaga yung mga hayop mo and it can cause damage to their skin. Kapag nagkasugat yan, it could cause infection and even death to your animals. So, a common practice used by poultry farmers is to debeak your chick para maiwasan yung harmful pecking behavior. And ang tawag natin dyan is debeaking. Hindi yan, again, different yan ulit doon sa pag-alis ng comb or part of the wattles or comb. Kasi ang tawag doon sa practice na yon is dubbing. Now, dubbing, ito yung process naman of removing a portion of the chicken's comb. So, this one, wattles, yung nasa baba na parang skin-like structure, yung sa earlobes niya, na mostly ginagamit sa mga day-old chicks. Although hindi lang naman sa mga day-old chicks, even sa chicken in general. So this practice is often done, so bakit siya ginagamit? To prevent injuries and reduce the risk of frostbite. Lalo na sa mga countries or sa mga areas na malamig. So inaalis daw yon to prevent injuries. So that's one. Kasi minsan yun yung tinutuklaw din ng iyong yun yung pinipek ng iyong chicken. At the same time, it is to prevent frostbite lalo na sa areas na malamig. So, yan yung sa US, sa Canada, sa yung mga areas na may winter sila, mostly dinadub. Nagkakaroon ng dubbing procedure yung mga chicken. Okay? So, again, dubbing is the practice sa poultry management kung saan nire-remove natin, inaalis natin yung parts of the comb, wattles, or earlobes ng ating chicken to prevent injuries and diseases. So, the answer, the removal of a part of the comb of day-old chicks is termed as dubbing. We now move forward to our next question. Sabi niya, this reproductive organ is otherwise known as the shell gland. So in colored eggs, sa mga eggs na may kulay, yung pigment ng kulay na to ay na-add rin sa section na to. So ano kayang tawag daw doon sa section ng reproductive organ kung saan nai-add yung shell and nai-add yung colored pigment? Do we term that as magnum, vagina, uterus, or infundibulum? Now, before we can answer this question, it is important for us to understand yung proseso ng formation ng itlog. Paano ba kasi nabubuo ang itlog? Lalo na sa chicken or lalo na sa birds. Ano yung process? So, egg formation starts off sa ating ovary. Okay? So, sa ovary yan nagsisimula. So, sa ovary, the ovary will contain small ova or tiny ova or yung tinterm natin na yolk. So, marami yan, napakadami. And may isang ova dyan na magiging dominant or magiging malaki. So kapag lumaki yan, ang tawag mo na dyan sa ova na yan, sa mature ovum mo, is called the yolk. And the yolk now will be released. So from the ovary, the yolk will be released now to our oviduct. So ano yung oviduct? Oviduct is this. Okay, so yung kabuuan na yan is termed as your oviduct. Your oviduct is a long coiled tube kung saan dyan nagtatravel yung itlog from the ovary until it reaches it oviposits sa vagina ng hayop. So ito yung long coiled tube that catches the egg from the ovary, tapos dinadaanan yan nung egg na yan, yung oviduct na yan, up until ma-oviposit siya or malay siya through the vagina ng hayop. So ano yung mga different sections of your oviduct? So the first section is our infundibulum. Now the purpose of the infundibulum, ito yung section ng oviduct that catches yung yolk na galing sa ovary. So yun lang. It catches yung yolk na galing sa ovary. Now, kapag may sperm na present, kapag nakipag-mate yung ating female bird, dito sa infundibulum, ito yung site of fertilization. Dito na fertilize yung itlog. Ngayon, kung wala, yung yolk natin magpapatuloy pa rin yan sa proseso ng egg formation. Now, typically, fertilization occurs sa ating infundibulum within 15 to 30 minutes kasi within 15 to 30 minutes, ganun din katagal na hinuhold ni infundibulum yung ating egg yolk. So after being held sa infundibulum, the yolk now will move to the magnum. So ano naman yung magnum? Yung magnum, yan yung pinakamahabang section ng oviduct. Okay? And ano yung nangyayari sa loob ng magnum? So sa loob ng magnum, yung yolk natin, nalalagyan siya ng albumen. Okay? So that's layers of whitish membrane. And dito sa magnum rin na to, habang dumadaan yung egg yolk mo sa magnum, yung itlog na yan umiikot. So kapag umiikot yan, nagkakaroon ng what do you call this, twisted cord-like structure dito sa magkabilang dulo niya. So ang tawag dun sa twisted cord-like structure na yan, ang tawag mo dyan is chalazae. Okay? It's chalazae, tawag dyan. So ano yung purpose ng chalazae na yan? Anong purpose nung cord na yan? To keep the yolk at the center. So sa magnum, dalawa yung naidadagdag sa egg yolk natin. Una, albumen. So nagkakaroon ng cover ng albumen yung egg yolk. At the same time, nagpo-form yung chalazae that keeps the egg yolk at the center. So sa magnum, hinuhold niya yung ating egg yolk within 2 to 3 hours. Yan, sa magnum, 2 to 3 hours. Kanina sa infundibulum, 15 to 30 minutes. Sa magnum, 2 to 3 hours naman. Ngayon, after the magnum, dadaan ngayon siya sa isthmus. So, ano yung section ng isthmus? Now, yung isthmus, yan ay isang narrow segment sa oviduct. Dito sa isthmus, na idadagdag yung eggshell membrane. So, hindi pa yung eggshell, yung eggshell membrane. Kumbaga, yung pinakapapel na bumabalot doon sa albumen and doon sa ating egg yolk. Now, kung papansinin niyo, nag-boil kayo ng itlog, once na krinak niyo yung egg, mapapansin niyo sa loob, meron pang layer na papery, parang paper or plastic-like layer. Yun yung outer eggshell membrane, tinatawag. So, hindi pa eggshell yung nabubuo diyan, but rather uh, the 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 eggshell membrane. Okay? So wala pang eggshell na nabubuo sa isthmus but rather eggshell membrane pa lang yung nabubuo dyan, just to be clear. And this process, it would take around 1 to 2 hours. So yung ating egg yolk with the albumin now will spend 1 to 2 hours sa isthmus para mabalot siya ng outer eggshell membrane. And comes now, of course, dadaan na yung isthmus sa uterus. And yung uterus, siya rin yung nagpuproduce ng shell. Kaya ang tawag din sa ating uterus is the shell gland. Kasi once na dumaan yung itlog dyan, si uterus magpuproduce yan ng calcium carbonate. So magpuproduce yan ng calcium carbonate here, tapos yung calcium carbonate na yun magdidikit-dikit, forming now your eggshell. Yung pigment din ay dito din nai-add. Kaya kung mapapansin natin, may mga itlog tayo that are brownish in color. This is here in the uterus din, dito din nai-add yan. Okay? Now, after the uterus, it would spend around 20 hours. So, 20 hours sa ating uterus before it gets oviposited or before it gets laid through the muscle ng vagina and cloaca. So given this explanation on the formation of egg sa ating chicken, then what do you call now the organ that is known as shell gland kasi siya yung naglalagay ng shell and naglalagay din ng pigment. So nasa napag-usapan natin kanina, ang tawag doon ay uterus. Last question. What do you call a young domestic Struthio camelus in the downy stage? So ano kaya yan? So syempre hindi mo masasagot yan kung hindi mo alam kung anong hayop ang Struthio camelus. Struthio camelus is the scientific name for what? For ostrich. Okay? Now, downy stage means young stage ng ostrich. Ano kayang tawag sa young stage ng ostrich? Now, we know that poult, based on our previous lecture noon, is the young term for turkey. Di ba? That's poult. How about duckling? Is a young duck. So, chick is a young chicken. Oh, so given this process of elimination, sir, ang pinakatamang sagot pala ay kit. Tama? Well, not necessarily. In fact, ang kit is a young guinea fowl. So it is also a type of bird, but kit ang tawag sa isang young guinea fowl. Therefore, anong tawag sa domestic ostrich, sa young domestic ostrich? Ang tawag sa kanya is chick. Okay? So huwag kayong malilito doon. Kapag tinanong kayo sa exam kung ano ang tawag sa isang young ostrich, ang tawag pa rin natin is a chick.